MSW Media.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Today, 8 Democratic senators voted yes to proceed on a government funding bill that does not include an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. The Trump administration has moved to lift the ban on Abrego Garcia's removal so they can deport him to Liberia. The First Circuit Court of Appeals has denied Trump's stay to block the payments of SNAP benefits. 2 top executives at BBC have resigned over the misleading edit of a Trump speech. A whistleblower tells House Judiciary Democrats that convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell is in the process of seeking a commutation from Donald Trump. And the Supreme Court has rejected Kim Davis's long-shot effort to overturn marriage equality. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
What a roller coaster of feelings I've had in the last 24 hours, my friend.
I agree with you 100%. I will get into some of those, but we have our big wins. We've got the ones that what the fuck moments of what are they doing? But yeah, we'll get into all of that. So I don't want to waste it in the discussion. But strap in, strap on, strap whatever you all enjoy doing. We're going on a ride.
Buckle on.
That's right.
Whatever it is that you do, because man, a couple days ago, I was feeling great after Tuesday. Then 8 Democrats decided to either go rogue, or it was a bigger group of Democrats that decided that these 8 could fall on the sword because they're going to retire or they don't run again until 2028 or 2030 and they think we'll forget. But 8 Democrats voted on cloture for this deal that they struck to reopen the government without the Affordable Care Act credits in it.
Because of a fucking promise from John Thune saying, oh, we'll have a vote in December. Sure. From all of the people that are unfazed and unmoved by what ICE is doing, unfazed and unmoved by them withholding SNAP, unfazed and unmoved by all of the cruelty from this administration, we're supposed to believe they're going to honor a promise to take a vote? I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm pissed about this.
And even if they promise to do the vote and take the vote, there's no guarantee it'll pass in the Senate. And if it does, it still has to go to the House.
Yeah.
And this happened in March. This happened just in March, where, the continuing resolution defunded the city of the District of Columbia, D.C. by $1.1 billion, took away, police and school and all that other stuff. And the Republicans were like, no, it's cool. We'll do a whole separate bill and we'll refund that. We'll make that happen. And they did it in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer agreed to it. But then Mike Johnson wouldn't take it up in the House. But now my understanding is that Hakeem Jeffries has perhaps floated the idea on a Democratic caucus call to put out a discharge petition for an ACA extension vote, meaning they would need 218 signatures, much like the Jeffrey Epstein discharge petition, which would force Mike Johnson to bring that vote to the floor. And I'm pretty sure we can find 4 Republicans in the House that want to extend the ACA credits. I
would hope so, with all the numbers.
We've talked about this, but I don't know if that would include all the other amendments that like Tim Kaine got for, bringing back furloughed employees and making sure they get back pay and getting rid of the rifts that happened and all that other stuff that they're adding to the bill.
Yeah.
And then I put out a little video like, hey, there's still time, because they have to take 3 60-vote votes to get this whole thing done. The first one, which is to open debate, and then a second 60-voter to add the amendments and approve the new continuing resolution that includes all the stuff they negotiated, and then a third and final cloture vote, which requires 60 votes for final passage. And so that, if you leave all the time restrictions in between, because you have to wait like 30 hours and wait a day unless there's unanimous consent, then all of that wouldn't have happened until Friday. So I put out a little thing saying, keep calling them and tell them to flip their vote, change their vote. any of them. Call all of them. Call Schumer. He's a no vote, but he's supposed to be the one that whips the party and gets the votes all right, like Pelosi was very good at.
Very, very good at it. She would have never let this happen.
No.
Not unless there was a reason that was,
Right.
not unless she got something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the Democrats got nothing from them other than a promise.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also got a couple of things like what Tim Kaine negotiated, which is to make guaranteed pay on the furlough, make sure SNAP is paid.
Those things should unfortunately happen regardless. It's bullshit that we even have to be like, and by the way, you're going to do back pay on all the federal workers, right? That you had just had furloughed for 40 days. I mean, it's such a bullshit that we're at the place where we're at.
Yeah, there was an amendment. You're not going to stab me in the eye, right? Like
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's all good. The 8 senators, by the way, Kaine, Hassan, Shaheen, Fetterman, King, who's an independent but caucuses with the Democrats. Jackie Rosen flipped her vote from no to yes last minute. She was a deciding vote. Dick Durbin, who's not running again. And Cortez Masto, who always votes with Republicans. So those are the 8. And the thing about Schumer, he's a no vote, but he let it happen. He didn't Nancy Pelosi it. He didn't Newt Gingrich it. Remember Newt Gingrich is like, if you defy me at your own peril, you can threaten to take people's leadership roles away. You can threaten to take them off their committees. You can, really push to make sure that your caucus is in line. And he was incapable of doing that. So again, as I've said before, I think we need a new minority leader, like maybe Van Hollen or Chris Murphy or something.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And listen, Schumer's had a good run. I think it's time for him to be primaried. When I say he's had a good run, I mean he's been in there for a really long time. I don't agree with everything he's done. And I do think we need some stronger and younger in this specific situation. Let's just say stronger. Let's not even bring age into it. I think we just need some stronger people that are going to take a stance that aren't, at the hands of these lobbyists.
Right.
It's on both sides of the aisle. I'm not saying it's just Republicans that are getting lobbyist money. It's on both sides of some of the lobbyists you agree with because you believe in their product or you believe with their corporation, and some of them you don't, but they're both getting money from lobbyists. So we'll see if AOC Prime goes after his seat in 2028. I believe that's when he's back up in the next presidential. I think she's got a hell of a shot.
She'll win it. I'm so torn. Like, should she run for Senate in New York and replace Schumer, or should she run for president? Like, I'm torn.
Just leapfrog right into there. I don't know.
I'm torn. Yeah, because the old way, which I'm trying to break my mindset of the old way, would be you got to be a senator first or a governor first or something like that. But I got to get out of the old way of thinking. So I don't know. But whatever it is she runs for, if it's if it's something I can vote for her, I'll vote for her.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Big question, though. Big question. Yeah. What the fuck's Mike Johnson going to do if they actually have to reopen the government?
Yeah, because they actually found a way to get past unanimous consent. So they're actually going to hold a final vote, not this Friday, on the shutdown deal in the Senate, but they're actually going to hold that vote tonight, Monday night, as we record this, which is last night as you're listening to this, if you're listening to the public version. And you're not a patron, if you're not getting these early, like the night before they come out, then that would kick this to the House because the House has to vote on it again. And that's what I don't get. Like, why not put the ACA in there? I know that Tammy Baldwin tried to put an amendment for the ACA in there and failed after the fact. But like, if you have to send it back to the House regardless because you've made changes to it, why not put the ACA in there? Or at least require it before you roll over. So that would go to the House on Wednesday, and presumably Mike Johnson would have to swear in Adelita Grijalva.
You would think so, but I don't trust that swarmy little fucker. No. Like, I don't know how and what, but I feel like he's got some way of being like, well, we're in session, but I'm not going to swear her in. Like, who's going to sit there and literally physically force him to do his job?
I don't know. Chris Mays sued, the Attorney General of Arizona, to see if a judge could swear her in or whatever. And I'm a little worried about that. I'm a little worried Mike Johnson might say, look, we can't swear her in right now because there's a lawsuit. It's under litigation. He'll come up with something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But again, once that discharge petition gets its 218th signature, I'm sure he's trying to get somebody to unsign it because that's the only way.
Right. it would not actually be released. I don't think anyone's going to budge at this point because it's going to make you look like a pedophile protector if you actually all of a sudden reverse it because you've got your 218 signature coming through.
Right. Like he's calling up Nancy Mace like, hey, Nance, what would it take to get you to remove your name from something that we've all been talking about for the last 9 months that's not going to go away and is worse than we thought?
Tell her I can tell you exactly why Nancy Mace, if you told her there was a trans person on the Epstein files list, she would change her vote in a fucking heartbeat.
But then she would want him to come out.
Because she's horrible. I guess that's true.
Maybe you should say there's no trans people on
There's no
Epstein
trans people.
file.
There you go. You got, thanks for the correction in live form.
But something like that, or I will, I don't know. Who knows what he's going to do? But we should know by tomorrow if, in fact, tonight the Senate is able to close the deal on this bullshit that just took all the wind out of my sails.
Yeah,
but then
agreed.
I woke up this morning to some amazing news from the Supreme Court. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but we have to take a quick break. So stick around. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. IQBAR is the better-for-you, plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy your hunger without a sugar crash. And right now, IQBAR is offering you an exclusive deal, 20% off all IQBAR products. Plus, get free shipping. Just text Daily Beans to 64,000. Finding convenient snacks and drinks that are also healthy has always been a challenge, but IQBAR is solving all those problems. Their Ultimate Sampler Pack gives you the perfect way to explore all their products at once with 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. Everything IQBAR makes is crafted with clean ingredients, completely free of gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, or artificial sweeteners. They pack in nutrients like magnesium, lion's mane, and adaptogens designed to keep you both physically and mentally fit throughout the day. The IQBAR protein bars are an easy swap for sugary snacks with more fiber and fewer carbs than the alternatives. IQ Mix hydration sticks give you electrolytes without sugar while supporting focus and mood. And the IQ Joe, those are amazing. They deliver 200 milligrams of smooth natural caffeine in instant coffee form, available in 4 rich flavors that outshine brewed coffee any day of the week. Flavor variety is impressive. Mint chocolate chip bars, blueberry pomegranate mixes, toasted hazelnut coffee are just a few of my favorites with seasonal options, adding surprises along the way. Backed by our over 20,000 5-star reviews, IQBAR continues to grow because it works. For me, I love starting my mornings with IQ Joe, then leaning on an IQ Mix or an IQ Bar to power through busy afternoons. It's an easy upgrade to my routine. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the sampler pack, plus free shipping. So to get your 20% off, text Daily Beans, all one word, to 64,000. Text Daily Beans to 64,000. One more time, text Daily Beans to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the Hot Notes. Hot Notes. All right, first up, from the Post, a U.S. appeals court Sunday night denied the Trump administration's efforts to stop the release of the full funding for November's SNAP payments, as ordered by a lower court judge, McConnell. The ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit said a district court had acted within its discretion in concluding the overwhelming evidence of widespread harm from halting the payments outweighed the potential harm to the government and the child nutrition programs, right? Because Trump was like, I will be harmed. I won't be able to get that food back out of the baby's mouth. That was his thing. Now, the Trump administration is expected to appeal the decision, of course, prolonging the tug of war over the nation's largest public initiative to combat hunger. Tens of millions of Americans are at risk of food insecurity as winter comes, So Supreme Court Justice, as we talked about earlier, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson on Friday temporarily blocked the district court order until the First Circuit issued its ruling. And you remember that was a pretty 4D chess gambit because she told the First Circuit to hurry up and kept it out of the hands of the 6 conservatives on the Supreme Court. And they did. They came back the next day with this ruling.
It was the right thing to do.
So on Monday morning, Justice Jackson issued an order directing the Trump administration to tell the Supreme Court by 11 a.m. whether it plans to continue trying to pause the lower court rulings. If it does intend to seek a stay, Jackson wrote, the Trump administration must submit its filing in the case by 4 p.m. Monday. She also told the plaintiffs in the case pushing to release the SNAP benefits, a group that includes several cities and nonprofits, to respond by 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So her plan is working, though the shutdown deal could moot this issue because when the government opens back up, SNAP gets released. But if that's hung up in the House or it's delayed for some reason or Mike Johnson does some weird shenanigans, then this can go forward and maybe we can get the release of SNAP before the government opens back up, depending on how long that takes.
We'll see what happens there. This next story is from ABC. The Trump administration has moved to dissolve the ban on Abrego Garcia's removal so that he can proceed with his deportation to Liberia, of all places. Jesus. In a series of filings overnight, government attorneys said that the Salvadoran natives' claim of fear or torture or persecution in the African nation was denied after he was interviewed by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services last week. The attorneys for the Department of Justice argued that the preliminary injunction blocking Abrego Garcia's removal to Liberia should be dissolved because the government received assurances from the government of the West African country that he will not be persecuted or tortured. I just am having a hard time. I won't make any judgment on their government. I just don't trust many of them right now to not do what they're, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the government also said that Abrego Garcia's lawsuit to stop his removal is improper because he is a member of a separate class action lawsuit in Massachusetts regarding third country removals. In that case, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to proceed with third country removals. On Friday, Abrego Garcia's attorneys asked U.S. District Judge Paula Zinis to block his removal to Liberia until an immigration judge reviews the denial of his reasonable fear claims by USCIS. And this is a quote. The government insists that the unreasoned determination of a single immigration officer who concluded that Abrego Garcia failed to establish that it is, and I quote, more likely than not that he will be persecuted or tortured in Liberia satisfies due process. That's what his attorney said. It does not. Abrego Garcia's attorneys also said that the government has cycled through 4 third country destinations, Uganda, Eswatini, Ghana, and now Liberia, without providing, and I quote, the notice opportunity to be heard and individualized assessment that due process actually requires. They're just throwing anything and seeing what sticks. They argue that the government has disregarded their client's statutory designation of Costa Rica, despite the country's previous assurances that it would accept him and give him refugee and resident status. Not just we won't torture him, we will give him refugee and resident status in the United States. Is like, no. Abrego Garcia is currently being held in a detention facility in Pennsylvania. The only way they would send him to Costa Rica, who is clearly going to give him a better life, is if he said he was guilty, and the guy's not doing it. Yeah. I'm impressed with this guy's, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, chutzpah is a great word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he, this whole Liberia thing, I mean, they're right. His lawyers are right. You've tried Uganda, Eswatini, Ghana, and now Liberia, everything but Costa Rica. And we've all agreed he'll go to Costa Rica, but he's not going to plead guilty for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, the credible fear interview done by an ICE person from ICE, and then it has to be reviewed by an immigration judge, which also all work for Pam Bondi. So it's not really fair. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep following it. This is from the Times. The BBC, one of the world's biggest broadcasters, has been plunged into crisis after 2 top executives quit after a leaked memo suggesting it had misleadingly edited a speech by Trump that preceded the January 6th Capitol riot. The departure of these 2 leaves a vacuum of leadership at the organization while the White House has been publicly celebrating it. A highly critical letter written by former external advisor to the BBC board, Michael Prescott, said that a documentary called Trump, A Second Chance, it was broadcast before the presidential election year, and at one point spliced together the footage from comments that Trump made about 50 minutes apart. In his speech on January 6th to supporters in Washington, as Congress was certifying the results that showed Biden had won the election, Trump said, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them." But the documentary produced as part of the BBC's long-running Panorama series cut that together with a previous sentence in which Trump said, "I'll be there with you," and with a much later quote from his speech. And the edited version suggested that he had said, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell." Now, the documentary is no longer available to watch on BBC's online player. Samir Shah, the BBC's chairman, said in a letter Monday that complaints about the editing of the clips had been discussed by the Standards Committee in January and May, and that the points raised in the review had been relayed to the Panorama team. Quote, with hindsight, it would have been better to take more formal action, he said. He went on to say, we accept that the way the speech was edited did give the impression of a direct call for violent action. The BBC would like to apologize for that error in judgment. Now, BBC News reported on Monday that Trump had sent a letter to the BBC threatening legal action. It cited the BBC saying it had received the letter and will respond in due course. A spokesman for the Trump legal team said Monday that a letter had been sent claiming that the broadcaster had defamed Trump and that the intention was to interfere in the 2024 presidential election.
For God's sake.
The letter, which was obtained by the Times, said Trump would file a $1 billion, a million zillion dollar lawsuit if the BBC didn't formally retract the report, apologize, and appropriately compensate Trump for the harm it caused. The surprise resignations of Mr. Davey and Deborah Turnus, the chief executive of the BBC, appear to have been catalyzed by the leak to the Daily Telegraph of Mr. Prescott's memo and by the days of public pressure that followed. In Mr. Davies' resignation statement on Sunday, he said, while not being the only reason, the current debate around BBC News has understandably contributed to my decision. Overall, the BBC is delivering well, but there have been some mistakes made, and as Director General, I have to take ultimate responsibility. These guys shouldn't have resigned over this. Ms. Turnus said the ongoing controversy around the Panorama on President Trump has reached a stage where it's causing damage to the BBC, an institution I love. While mistakes have been made, I want to be absolutely clear. Recent allegations that BBC News is institutionally biased are wrong. So they rolled over and gave up and quit based on this edit.
He did say, I'll be down there. I'll be walking with you down to the ellipse. So they edited it, but that was still his message to them.
Didn't change the message. Right. It doesn't change the message at all.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe this. That guy cries fucking about everything. My God.
Ugh.
And he keeps winning.
$1 billion.
And these people should not have resigned. I agree. Okay, we are going to give you some good news, though. This is from NBC. The Supreme Court on Monday turned away this long-shot attempt to overturn the landmark 2015 ruling that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. That was Obergefell. Without comment, the justices rejected an appeal brought by fucking Bigot on the Prairie, Kim Davis, a former county clerk in Kentucky who was sued in 2015 for refusing to issue marriage licenses because of her opposition to same-sex marriage based on her religious beliefs, even though she had been married 4 times and had a baby when she was married to her second husband with the person who would become her 4th husband. I just can't. I fucking can't.
The 3rd husband got lost in there? She married somebody else before? Okay.
No idea. Her latest appeal in the case, by the way, was brought a decade later. It had attracted considerable attention amid fears that the court could overturn the 2015 same-sex marriage decision. That, I said, was Obergefell versus Hodges in the aftermath of the 2022 ruling that overturned the landmark abortion rights decision, Roe v. Wade. Because fucking Thomas was like, I think we need to revisit Obergefell. I think we need to revisit Griswold. Some LGBTQ activists have pointed to conservative Justice Clarence Thomas's suggestion in his concurring opinion in the decision overturning Roe that Obergefell and some other cases should also be visited as a cause for concern. You know, he didn't say we should visit Loving versus Virginia. And I don't know if you noticed, Clarence Thomas, but your wife is white.
You know what I love is that you said that thing about Thomas, and then it says some LGBTQ activists have pointed to that.
I guess I did.
Yeah. One just did.
Now, although the court has a 6-3 conservative majority, none of the other justices joined Thomas's opinion. Okay. The Supreme Court's action was welcomed by LGBTQ advocates. And this is a quote. Today, the Supreme Court affirmed what we all know. Marriage equality is the law of the land. This is what Kevin Jennings, a dear friend of mine, he's the CEO of Lambda Legal, said. Just last month, Justice Samuel Alito, who authored the abortion ruling, he indicated he was not pushing for Obergefell to be overturned. Davis refused to issue any marriage licenses in the immediate aftermath of Obergefell. She said that as a conservative Christian who opposes same-sex marriage, she should have a religious right not to put her name on a marriage licenses involving same-sex couples. Kim Davis, go fuck yourself.
I think the next time she applies for a marriage certificate, we should sue.
I think we should, or hope maybe it's going to be a gay person that's like, I don't think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, her office in Rowan County, Kentucky, denied licenses to several such couples, including David Moore and David Ermold, who subsequently filed a civil rights lawsuit. Davis was ordered to issue a license for Moore and Ermold, but defied the court injunction and still refused to do so. The judge then held her in contempt, and she was jailed for 6 days. While she was jailed, Moore and Ermold were able to obtain their marriage license. Subsequently, the state changed the law in order to address the controversy, allowing for a license to be issued without the clerk's name on it. But Davis's case continued, with Moore and Ermold seeking damages for the initial refusal. And after lengthy litigation, a jury awarded $100,000 in damages. Davis was also required to pay $260,000 in attorney's fees. Fucking awesome. Then she appealed it, claiming that she should have been able to cite as a defense her right to the free exercise of religion under the Constitution's First Amendment. After losing an appeal at the Cincinnati-based 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in March this year, Davis turned to the Supreme Court, raising that question, as well as much more contentious issue of whether Obergefell should be overturned. With the Supreme Court appeal now over, the case will return to the lower court, where Moore and Ermold, who declined to comment, by the way, on this latest action, they will seek to collect the damages they are owed. Now, I will say this. This is a long shot bullshit case by Kim Davis. I am not saying someone else will not try and bring another case to overturn Obergefell that may have better standing, if you will. I don't know if there will be any case that has standing, but I don't trust the Supreme Court. I do not trust the Heritage Foundation to not fund another attack on marriage equality. But right now we're taking this as a win. And like I said, Kim Davis, just go back under the rock you crawled from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a long shot case because she was tacking on Obergefell overturning to her fees thing, and which is just, it didn't really have a snowball's chance. But it is also not weird for everyone to worry what this Supreme Court can do to Obergefell.
Right.
And that's why the fight is not over now, and it will probably never be over. So I hope she's mad.
Yep.
I hope she's having a really bad day. And what a terrible, awful, horrible. I like Bigot on the Prairie.
Yeah.
That's really
Little
nice
Bigot on the Prairie.
All right, everybody. We got some good news we have to get to, so stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, this time of year, heaters, wind, and late nights can make my skin feel parched and papery and crepey and fussy. I have stuck with OneSkin because it actually helps. Their OS One face fits perfectly into my routine and keeps delivering the powerful skincare for longevity and benefits that I live for. At the core is their patented OS One peptide. It's the first ingredient proven to target senescent cells. That's the root cause of wrinkles and crepiness and loss of elasticity, all key signs of aging. And these results have now been validated in 5 different clinical studies. We're loving OneSkin, and we want to thank them for sponsoring this episode. And we have a discount for you. Go to oneskin.co/dailybeans and use code dailybeans for 15% off. What first hooked me about OneSkin is the science. I love science. Science! The brand was founded by an all-woman team of longevity scientists with PhDs in stem cell biology and skin regeneration and tissue engineering. After using it, I was surprised by how quickly my skin looked smoother and felt more resilient. It snapped back better, and there was no heaviness. I'm gifting all my friends their limited edition Nightly Rewind gift set. It's a luxe upgrade to any nightly ritual with a best-selling face moisturizer, the new peptide lip mask, and a sculpting gua sha tool. Everything is designed to work together as your body enters its natural nightly repair mode, helping renew skin at the cellular level for stronger, smoother, more youthful-looking complexions. That's why OneSkin has become an irreplaceable part of my nightly routine. I can't imagine ever wanting to go without. So for a limited time, try OneSkin for 15% off using code DailyBeans at oneskin.co/dailybeans. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the Daily Beans and tell them we sent you. Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Everyone, then good news, everyone.
Good news, good news. And if you have any good news, any good trouble suggestions you'd like to send us, if you're a patron and you're watching our daily video Beans Talk episode and you want to send in some feedback on that. There's a link in the show notes for that to do that. So that's separate from the good news. But all of your good news, big or small, yesterday or 20 years ago, we would love to hear from you because we all need to share in a little happiness right now. Maybe if you have a favorite joke you want to send us, we would love to hear it. Maybe misheard song lyrics, mondegreens. We love to hear those. If you have a shout out you'd like to give to a local food bank or maybe a nonprofit, another nonprofit that's doing great work and you want to shine a light on them, or a small business in your area that could use a boost. We also love self shout outs. Shout outs to loved ones, if I didn't say that, government programs that have helped you or a family member or somebody that you know. We really want to kind of, for posterity's sake, really talk about how our government programs really, really help us out. So that's kind of our way of doing that here at the Beans. So send it all to us. And all you got to do to get your good news or good trouble read on the air is pay your pod pet tariff, which means attach a photo of your pet. Tell us if the Greyhound watched. If you don't have a pet, you can send an adoptable pet in your area. If you don't have that, grab a random photo of an animal on the internet. We also accept bird watching photos, which can be an actual bird, or you and your family and friends flipping the bird to Trump buildings. We'd love to see those. Everyone's got a couple of those somewhere in their photo album. You can also send family photos, baby pictures, photos of what you're making and creating, knitting, crocheting, painting, poetry, whatever you're doing to pass the time. Maybe a photo of your garden or your happy place or a nice sunset or a vacation or a No Kings rally, anything at all. Send it to us. dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. First up is your good trouble. All right, this is about Tesla takedown rallies because as we know, Elon Musk just got $1 trillion pay package from Tesla. And Tesla Takedown had protests at over 300 Tesla dealerships in March. And they're having another day of action to protest the $1 trillion pay package. Protests are this Saturday, November 15th. So you can go to teslatakedown.com to find one near you or set one up if there's a dealership in your area that doesn't have one already happening. It's really simple. Just set the address and the time, bring a sign, call some friends, maybe put out an inflatable costume left over from No King's Day. Again, it's teslatakedown.com. Thank you so much for that good trouble. And again, if you have any good trouble suggestions, send them to us.
All right. Thanks, AG. This next one's from Anonymous. No pronouns given. Hello, listener since the kitchen table days. For a very long time, I was that listener who skipped the good news segment. But it's become my favorite part of the pod since the Orange Man won. My turn to contribute. So here goes. It's with thesis titles. I got a little tongue-tied there. And a nod to the movie, mine was In Search of New Antibiotic Resistance and Temperature-Sensitive Loki in the Yeast, oh my gosh, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. What do you think? Was that close?
Yeah.
Saccharomyces cerevisiae, done in 1985. I recently pulled it out and I can't believe I had anything to do with it. The whole volume is completely over my head. But the truth is, it was largely over my head at the time too. It definitely contributed to my massive imposter syndrome because not only did I surprisingly survive my defense, but I received an award for it. To this day, when I think of the hours and hours I spent plating yeast, I swear I can still smell all that great baker's yeast blooming. In 2020, my niece received her PhD in cell and molecular biology. Her dissertation, modeling and prediction of genetic redundancy in Arabidopsis, Thaliana. Oh my God, y'all are killing me. Thaliana. And wait for it. Okay, here we go again. Saccharomyces. I feel like we're on Electric Company. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Send me a correction for God's sake. No, we didn't plan it. And I'm happy to report that unlike her aunt, she did understand her dissertation. From my pod pet tax, I share Max and Maddie. These are my god kittens. I'm allergic to cats, but I love them. And so I insert myself into other cat families. When Max and Maddie's grandmother, a practicing Catholic, found out I was the designated godmother, she objected, but she doesn't go to church. As if naming cat godparents is a thing. I so love that reaction. Keep up the great work. You're my primary source of news, so I can get the highlights mixed with good news and not get too panicked about this fucked up world. And well, they said effed up. Anonymous said effed up world. And the two of you help so much with your giggles and swearing.
Oh, look at the sweet kitty.
So sweet.
All right. So you both had Saccharomyces cerevisiae in your dissertations. Congratulations, the two of you. And again, if we pronounced those wrong, you let us know. You don't have to tell us what they are.
Just say Dana fucked him up.
We just want to know if we said them right. All right. Next up from Good Michael, pronouns he and him. Good news. We started a food pantry at my third space, Shenanigans Comedy Theater. Yes. Last week, we helped over 100 families, and we're on track to help even more this week. Shenanigans, located in Huntsville, Alabama, is a diverse and inclusive 501c3 dedicated to making the arts accessible and affordable to all in our area. We went from a half-empty hallway and closet to a full-on food pantry in under a week.
Wow.
Seeing the love and support that's flowing in from the greater Huntsville area is truly amazing. Our food pantry is at huntsvillelaughs.com/outreach/thepantry. And information on our other outreach stuff, including both our mobile LGBTQ plus closet and our crisis resource center, is at huntsvillelaughs.com/outreach. Since we're a 501c3, we're always happy to receive financial support at huntsvillelaughs.com/donate. Our local Fox affiliate, I'm thankfully not in the B-roll, even ran a story on our pantry, and we'll have a link in the show notes to that story. Podpet Taxes, Riker, bestest boy ever. DNA results suggest part almost every breed known to man. So any breed you guess will be at least partially correct. I love you. Oh, thanks. And I'm so grateful you exist and thankful to the two of you for all you do.
Oh,
look
what
at
a
this
cute
sweet
pupper.
baby.
That is quite the mix.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Brindle something and a greyhound watched.
Yeah, absolutely. Ellie's dad. No pronouns given for Ellie's dad. Most significantly beautiful queens of the beans. Nope. Most magnificently beautiful queens of the beans. I'm just making up words now. I'm a resident of Aurora, Colorado, and I consider myself just to the left of FDR. I long for kick-ass, old-school liberal candidates. Elections in Aurora are strange as candidates are not allowed to register party affiliation. Because of that, you have to dig deep. There were 4 city council candidates in my ward, 2 women, 2 men. The platform for the 2 men was clear. The women, not so much, which is usually cause for concern. They refer to themselves as moms, and I always in quotes in their Facebook pages. Dog whistles? Then I found posts praising Charlie Kirk and clicked. Definitely dog whistles. Moms, in quotes, is code for Moms for Liberty. That's something to notice, everyone. If you see moms in quotation marks, they're probably a Moms for Liberty candidate. Made my vote easy after that. Now, if we could just replace Mike Kaufman. Yep, for my pod pet tax, I offer Ellie. She was a great find as a feral kitten of intermediate lineage. Nope, indeterminate lineage. Dana, God. Indeterminate lineage that we got from the Dumb Friends League.
Oh, I like that.
I
sound
know.
of that place.
She's an 8-pound cuddle bunny, but also a fierce protector of her domain. She shocked us Saturday when she dove off the deck and ran off 2 of the neighbor's golden retrievers, then ran off about 30 meters, then turned around with this really confused, what the fuck look on their faces while she proudly trotted back to the house. As you can tell from the pics, she loves belly rubs until she doesn't.
Yep, that's true for most cats. Look at the baby.
Beauty.
Oh, I want to touch the bellies. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
It is really fun.
And yeah, watch out for those moms. And by the way, ABC put out a story saying Moms for Liberty candidates won across the country, but no Moms for Moms for Liberty candidates won in a race where they were contested. Not a single one.
Nope.
They all lost.
Yep.
Oh, ABC. Bye. All right. Next up from anonymous, pronoun she and her. Hi, AG and DG. I listen daily and always hear you request for good news. So I finally decided to write in. After spending over 35 years performing as a stage actor, chronic health issues have had me rethink my path. So I started storytelling and writing new shows, productions, and plays. Last year, I decided to write a show set in 1966 so I could focus on the issues that are still relevant and in need of systemic change. It chronicles a husband and wife whose inherited grocery store is failing, so they invent a mythological creature to drum up some attention. But it spins out of control, bringing in a hippie environmental activist, an overlooked female reporter, a forgotten veteran turned conspiracy theorist, and a Black filmmaker struggling to be seen and heard. When the couple learns the stories of those around them, seeing how everyone is facing a battle, they have to decide whether to keep the lie going or reveal the truth. It's a retro comedy with deep heart, that explores purpose and community and the lengths we go to find them. As part of a new playwrights event, after 8 months of workshopping, it opened last week with 2 shows only. The overwhelming feedback from the cast, crew, and audience is how incredible it was to be part of something bigger than themselves, a process and story that explored what it means to be human. While it's admittedly hard for me to celebrate this as a win for myself, knowing that we were able to bring attention to stories and struggles that are still happening today in a way that creates connection and community awareness, concreted the entire process of the show. So to all the other artists, storytellers, and creatives out there, keep creating. It isn't selfish. It isn't wasted. It makes a difference. I promise. I don't currently have any pets, so I hope you accept this production image, which features the Haverton Howler, our fake beast, and the title of the show. Oh, congratulations.
Absolutely. This is awesome.
That's so cool. I love this so much. Thank you for that.
Me too. All right. This is from T-Bird, pronouns she and her. Hi, ladies. I've been wanting to write to you for a while, but the current atmosphere has had me in such a funk. Tuesday upped my joy factor quite a bit. I'm a widow who works every day at finding my new place. It's been a struggle since my late husband was first diagnosed with the fatal and incurable neurodegenerative disease, multiple system atrophy, otherwise known as MSA4. In caregiving and COVID isolation, I often ignored my own health, trying to cope with the horrendous tasks each day that lay before me for quite some time. I want to stress to the women out there how important paying attention to ourselves is. I developed several issues myself in my ignorance and found that after my love's passing, I was suddenly left to face them on my own. Not only had I been diagnosed with T2D insulin dependence, type 2 diabetes insulin dependence, which had begun to affect my organs, but I had dodged the old boob smash for about 5 years. As I no longer had the excuse to ignore the task, I took Tylenol and hit radiology for a long overdue self-care torture session. I was even irritated with my pushy nurse practitioner for making me do it. Long story short, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was unmedicated at the time, and little did I know what a frickin' blessing that would become. Not only did they supply my insulin and supplies, but surgically removed the cancer, which had not yet metastasized, thank God. Performed a double partial mastectomy and put everything back so it would look and function normally at no cost to me. It's been a long road, but I'm proud to say that even though I had no longer qualified for Medicaid today, it was found I now make a little over $100 too much per month on my husband's survivor Social Security. I'm too young for my own at 61. Jesus Christ. I'm blessed and joyfully grateful for the insurance and the pushy nurse practitioner who saved my life. I can also button my coat now, as I was a bra size G before, and now I sport an easier to find size B. Life is far from perfect, and it seems like the hits just keep coming every day. But I put one foot in front of the other. I face it head on with my fam and fram. I have no pets, but I thought I'd share some regular visitors here, sending love and supportive juju to those needing a boost, because I now have it to share. T-Bird, pronouns she and her. See picture attached.
It's a deer in a yard.
That is a gorgeous animal. I am so glad that you had what you needed with the health insurance. This is such a good message, especially the people of this generation in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and I say this just from the story, but I can imagine, I think about my mom, even though my mom hasn't been with anyone for a very long time. She is very independent, very self-sufficient. But I think about these women and these men, even in same-sex relationships, that have always taken care of their person, and they become a caretaker, and they abandon their own health. They forget to take care of themselves. It is such a good reminder not to do that.
Yeah, what a warrior you are.
Yeah.
T-Bird, thank you so much for that submission and the wonderful photos. Next up, Venti Lava Vent. How much fuck could Chuck fuck Chuck if Chuck fuck could Chuck fuck? Fuck Chuck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And scene.
And scene.
And from Alex, pronouns she and her. Hello, monarchs of the musical fruit. My good news this week doubles as a self shout out. Excellent. 1 year ago, after a tough conversation with my doctor about making some lifestyle changes, I decided to start running. When I first laced up, I could barely make it 15 seconds before needing to stop, and I'd be sore for hours afterward. Fast forward a year, and everything has changed. I found an incredible local running group that has supported and encouraged me every step of the way, offering tips and motivation to keep going. Around this time last year, it took me 55 minutes to complete a 5K, but this past weekend, I ran the Indianapolis Monumental 5K and hit a new personal record of 34 minutes and 10 seconds.
Wow.
For sakes. Jeez, Alex, that's almost half your time.
I couldn't run that fast if something was chasing me.
If you were trying out for ice.
Yeah.
I still have plenty of goals ahead, but I'm proud of how far I've come and how much stronger I feel, both physically and mentally. For my tax, I've included a group photo from this weekend's race, one from my Halloween 5K in October, and a picture of my mischievous cat, Grim, who just celebrated his 3rd Gotcha Day last month. Thank you for the joy, humor, and perspective your podcast brings every day. You've helped me stay informed and reminded me it's okay to find light in the madness. Warmly, Alex and Grim. Look how adorable you are.
Seriously.
Look how kind of adorable you are.
I love so much.
By the way, the tutus for 5Ks.
Yep.
I've done so many of these.
This is fantastic.
And look at Grim. What a sweet baby. Oh, what a good familiar. Everybody, thank you. I needed that. I was so angry. I was so mad. So I appreciate you sending in the good news. And please, everybody, send it all to us. Overwhelm us with your amazing good news. You can do it at dailybeanspod.com and click on contact. Don't get imposter syndrome about your good news. It's good. I promise. Just send it in. And thank you so much, everyone. Dana, how's the ticket sales going for Chi-Town?
Ticket sales are great. We've got 13 tickets left, and I am so excited to announce we've got a local comedian named Katie Kincaid that is going to be opening both shows in Chicago. So you're going to be treated to a fantastic lesbian comic that I just found on social media. It's really important for me when I go to a city to try and get a local opener so they can be introduced to a new audience. So everyone who got tickets, be kind to her. I already know how great this audience is going to be. And so I love bringing comedians to perform in front of y'all. But 13 tickets left for the 9 p.m. show. If you want to go, Chicago, there's still time, November 14th. You can go to danagoldberg.com, go to my tour schedule, and just grab tickets there. And I can't wait to see you all.
Fantastic. The Outrage Us Tour at the Annoyance Theater in Chicago, November 14th. Man, it's just a couple days away.
I know.
A few days away. Also, I want to give a shout out to all my fellow veterans on this Veterans Day. Thank you. Thank you for your service. It isn't enough, but you know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. And we'll see you all tomorrow. We'll be back in your ears tomorrow. Thanks so much. Until then, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and take care of your family. I've been AG.
I've been DG.
And them's the beans.
The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com.
MSW Media.